Hello there, my heroes and heroines, how are you? Today the video is going to be about Devil May Cry, and I want to talk about Rebellion more specifically, because I've been thinking and I realized that it's not as valued as it should be. If you stop to think about the most powerful devil arms we have in the Devil May Cry series, we know that we have the Force Edge / Sparta, Yamato, and Rebellion. But if you compare Rebellion to Sparta and Yamato, you'll see that both Sparta and Yamato have played important roles throughout the Devil May Cry games, while the Rebellion hasn't really done anything special aside from being Dante's weapon, of course. But we know that Dante has a special connection with Rebellion, just like Virgil has a special connection with Yamato, and that these swords make them more powerful and grant them more abilities. But I'm talking about the abilities the swords have independently of whom is using it. I'm not talking about what Rebellion does specifically for Dante and what Yamato does for Virgil and what Force Edge / Sparta does for Sparta himself. I'm talking about what these swords give to whomever is using it, even though you're not its owner, like Rebellion belonging to Dante and Yamato belonging to Virgil, They have special abilities that they give to anybody who uses it, and that's what I'll be talking about here, okay? So, considering that, if you look at Sparta Sword, it was present in Devil May Cry 1, 3, and 4, and in all of these games it played a huge role and granted its user special abilities, and even though they were not Sparta. In Devil May Cry 1 it was used by Dante, so you could say that the special abilities given to him were because of his connection with the sword, since he is one of the sons of Sparta, but these abilities have been given to others as well, like Arkham in Devil May Cry 3 and Sanctus in Devil May Cry 4. The sword Sparta not only is powerful by itself, by having long-range attacks and demonic energy that can be released to damage the enemies, but it also grants its users the powers of Sparta. In Devil May Cry 1, Dante uses the powers of Sparta to beat Mundus. In Devil May Cry 3, Arkham wants to become a god, and to do that, he retrieves the sword Sparta that grants him the powers of Sparta, which would make him a god. And in Devil May Cry 4, Trish gives the sword Sparta to Sanctus, and he uses its power to bring the Savior to life and slay the demons he unleashed, so that people would praise their God and believe on their Savior.
Do not fear! Our Savior has come for us to deliver us salvation! We must repent and rejoice, for the world has not yet come to an end!
Of course, neither Arkham or Sanctus could really control the powers of Sparta, but they certainly received it and gained new abilities.
You should come to realize you cannot control the power of Sparta. You're wasting your time, buddy.
The power of Sparta! Why won't you give me strength? Am I not worthy?
Never could take those legends too literally. But I do know that Sparta had a heart. A heart that could love another person. A human. And that is what you lack.
Dante was able to control it probably because the sword responds better to him, but the powers of Sparta are given to whoever has the sword, so this is something that the sword will grant anyone who has it. Another benefit of having the sword Sparta is that it is the Force Edge combined with the Perfect Amulet, and the Perfect Amulet is necessary for you to enter the Underworld. You can see that in Devil May Cry 3 and in Devil May Cry 1. When you beat Nilo Angelo in the third fight, you get Virgil's part of the amulet and unites it with yours, forming the Perfect Amulet, and in its description it is stated that it allows you entrance to the Underworld. Considering that, if you have the sword Sparta, you can enter the underworld since it contains the perfect amulet that allows you to do that. Now moving on to Yamato, it was present in Devil May Cry 3 and 4, and in Devil May Cry 3 the sword didn't do anything except from being Virgil's weapon, so nothing to analyze here. But in Devil May Cry 4 it was shown to have a lot more importance. Agnes said that he had to capture and control countless of demons to harness their souls, in order to create those demons in white armor that served the Order of the Sword. But to do that, he summoned them through the gates that he created to substitute the real Hell Gate. But he was only able to summon those demons through those gates thanks to an extremely powerful devil's arm.
Look how beautiful this white armor stands. You have no idea the hardship to make just one armor come to life. I had to capture and control countless demons to harness their souls. Summoning them alone was almost an insurmountable task.
Summoning? So it was you who made the gate.
Yes, the Hell Gate. I created it merely as a reference and substitution for the real gate. But after utilizing an extremely powerful devil's arm, it proved sufficient.
He never really stated that this devil arm was Yamato, but it was the only devil arm shown to be in possession of the Order of the Sword at that moment. And what other extremely powerful devil arm could they have? The three most powerful ones are Sparda, Yamato, and Rebellion, and since they had Yamato, even though broken, he must have been talking about it. Another point is that Yamato was used in this game to open the real Hell Gate, allowing the demons to come to the human world.
Judgment Day has arrived!
Now, this is not exactly a fact, but it's something I noticed, and it's about Yamato being considered more relevant than Rebellion by Sanctus. There are two moments where I noticed that. The first one is when he sends Trish to catch Dante, but did not mention Rebellion, and sends Credo to bring Nero and Yamato back.
Though who will then track Dante?
I will find Dante.
You can guarantee his capture then?
Absolutely. It's good to see Your Holiness has recovered.
Now, Credo, find us Nero and Yamato and bring them back to me.
He could be just wanting Yamato back to open the Hell Gate at this point, but could be because of how powerful the sword is too. And the second moment is when Dante is fighting the Savior, and Sanctus says that even Yamato is powerless in opposition to the Savior. I mean, why didn't he say even Rebellion, or even Yamato in Rebellion? That may be nothing, but certainly it looks like Yamato is more powerful by the way he's talking about it, right? There's another thing that favors Yamato over Rebellion, and it's in Devil May Cry 1. When you beat the game in hard mode, you unlock the costume known as the Legendary Dark Knight, which is basically Dante wearing Sparta's clothes. However, with that costume, you have a new sword to play as, and the sword is Yamato. You can only use Yamato with the Legendary Dark Knight costume, but the funny thing is its description. It says that Yamato is the legendary sword wielded by Sparta, and that it has the power to wipe out the darkness. Not only that, but it allows you to double trigger, and when you do, you become Sparta. The only swords that allow that in the game are the sword Sparda and Yamato. The description, plus the fact that it turns you into Sparta, shows that both these weapons were used by Sparta and they were almost, if not equally as important to him. But there's nothing about rebellion in that game. Also, Yamato is known to have the power to cut through anything, but Rebellion doesn't seem to have anything special like that, you know? These were all like story and trivia facts, but if you take a look at the gameplay, you'll see that the Force Edge / Sparta is capable of mimicking the most iconic attacks of Rebellion. High Time, Helmbreaker, Stinger, Round Trip. Virgil could do them all with Force Edge during the final fight in the DMC3, and Dante replaced Rebellion in Devil May Cry 1 and started using Force Edge, which didn't make much of a difference because he could do Rebellion's moves with it. In Devil May Cry 3, even the game describes Force Edge as a way of Virgil to fight like Dante. The only moves that Rebellion has that Force Edge doesn't are basically the ones Dante uses with Swordmaster, but I'm not sure if those are exclusive to Rebellion or if Dante could do them with Force Edge if he used Swordmaster with it. We don't know because only in Devil May Cry 1 Dante used Force Edge, and since we did not have the styles like Swordmaster in this game, we will never know, but that is something I'm wondering about. So basically, comparing Rebellion with Force Edge / Sparta, you'll see that both swords offer the same attacks, but with Sparta you also get the powers of Sparta and the ability to enter the underworld thanks to the perfect amulet. Comparing Rebellion to Yamato, they both have very different attacks and ways of using them, but Yamato is said to cut through anything and can open the real Hell Gate. Basically, if you have Sparta and Yamato, there's no need to have Rebellion, because Sparta will cover pretty much everything that the Sword Rebellion does and give you even more, and Yamato is much different from both, which makes it pretty unique and useful to have. So, a quick rewind here, okay? So, the Sword Sparta, what has it done in the games? Devil May Cry 1, it gave Dante the power to win the fight against Mundus, which is basically the main objective of the game. In Devil May Cry 3, it is the main objective of both Archon and Virgil, which are like the two main villains of the game. I mean, if it weren't for the Sword Sparta, probably Devil May Cry 3 wouldn't have even happened, because this was the main goal of the villains. And in Devil May Cry 4, it gave Sanctus the power to bring the Savior to life and to destroy the demons he unleashed, which is the main goal of the villain of this game as well. So Devil May Cry 4 probably wouldn't have happened without Sparta as well. So Sparta is like extremely important in all of these games. And its special abilities is it grants the powers of Sparta to anyone who has it and enters to the underworld. And these special abilities are to anyone, not specifically to Sparta, for example. Yamato, in Devil May Cry 4, it was used to summon the demons from the gates created by Agnes to make the demons that would serve the Order of the Sword. This is that part where I said that he used an extremely powerful Devil's Arm, and I suppose it's Yamato, and if it is, it was used for that. It was used to open the real Hell Gate to allow the demons to come so that Sanctus could destroy them and make people believe on their Savior, which is also a big part of Devil May Cry 4, for Yamato to release the demons so that he could destroy. I mean, there would be no point in having to create the Savior, because there would be no demons to slay and people would not believe on their God. So if there wasn't Yamato, there probably wouldn't be Devil May Cry 4 as well. And it also gave Nero the power necessary to stop Sanctus and the Savior, because in the final fight Nero uses Yamato to beat Sanctus. But I'm not gonna be counting this, because since Nero is, I don't know if it's confirmed already or if it's almost, but it's almost certain that Nero is the son of Virgil, and if it is, if Nero is actually the son of Virgil, Yamato would respond to Nero, because Yamato would sense the Virgil inside of Nero, you know, just like the Sword Sparta senses Sparta inside Dante and in Virgil. So I'm not counting that, because it would be the same as giving Virgil special abilities, you know, and since I said before, I don't want to count the abilities that the sword gives to its owner, and even though Nero is not its owner, he's a son of the owner, so of course the Yamato would respond better to Nero. And its special abilities, it has the power to cut through anything, and it opens the Hellgate. And Rebellion, the only main thing that it has done in the games was in Devil May Cry 3, it unlocked Dante's Devil Trigger, but I cannot count that because, I mean, Rebellion is Dante's weapon, it responds to him, it has special connection with Dante, so as I said, I'm not counting these things. So even though it did a really important part in Devil May Cry 3, I cannot count that because it was doing for Dante and not for anybody else. And special abilities, I didn't put none because Rebellion hasn't really been said or hasn't really done anything special outside from being Dante's weapon. So this is it. I mean, these were the most important facts I could get and I could remember in the Devil May Cry games. I mean, I've been playing them again and I started to get all of this information as I was playing, and maybe I forgot to bring something up, maybe some facts of Sparta and Yamato I've forgotten, and maybe there is something about Rebellion that I didn't bring. I should maybe revisit Devil May Cry 2 to see if there is something about Rebellion, but from what I remember, not even Devil May Cry 2, Rebellion really had a huge important role like Sparta and Yamato had in these other games. So, I mean, I don't know why. I mean, is it just Rebellion a pure imitation of Sparta Sword? Is Rebellion, maybe it hasn't really shown any potential outside from being Dante's weapon because it has been with Dante throughout all the games, like Yamato and Sparta, they have been used by others. So you can see the special abilities they have because they have been used by others, but Rebellion has never been with anybody else other than Dante, so maybe if Dante were to, I don't know, lose Rebellion, or if somebody else were to get Rebellion, then its abilities could have been shown, or does it have special abilities but they haven't mentioned it yet? I don't know, I really don't know what they want to do with Rebellion, if they ever thought about that, if they think about never giving importance to Rebellion like they did with Sparta and Yamato. But I don't know, I'd like to know what you guys think, if you also think that Rebellion hasn't really been given as much credit as Sparta and Yamato, and if I have forgotten to mention something important about that, about any of these swords, don't forget to comment, leave a comment for me, okay, because as I can't really remember anything else. I think these were all the main facts. So please tell me what you think. I'd like to know that. Subscribe for more content like this if you like Devil May Cry, if you like creating these discussions. I want to do more of them, so if you like, don't forget to subscribe. And also follow me on Twitter, because sometimes if I want to create new discussions, I'd like to know what you guys would want to see. If I have an idea, I'd like to talk to you first. And there is a much better place to talk with you than YouTube. YouTube is only gonna be used to create videos and stuff like that. So thank you guys for your time, and I'll see you guys next time.